Hello, Namaste. Welcome to Mind Medicine. My name's Julie Kelly, and for those who don't know me, I'm a Tibetan Buddhist scholar and practitioner. I'm also a registered stress consultant and a traditional Indian healer. So let me tell you a little bit about Mind Medicine. Well, they run every Saturday online, and each Saturday we look at a different theme. And the idea is that I put these videos out and we have a conversation. So you post in, I love to hear your feedback, and you can be part of the conversation, join in with what I'm talking about, and we can chat together. So first of all, before I start, I would like to say Tashidale to my Buddhist mentor, Abhi Rinpoche, who's currently in India. So I hope Abhi Rinpoche is watching this. And hello to everyone else who's watching. So today's theme is going to be about grief and loss and how we can move forward without impacting our mental health. There are different ways to work through grief and loss, and we've all lost someone in our lives, and as we all know, it's that horrible feeling of being stuck in that pit of what feels like mud of anger, despair, sorrow, and you can get sucked into it. But some people deal with grief better than others. Now, Mind Medicine is all about a Buddhist perspective. Now, we're not all Buddhist. Not everyone wants to look at things from a Buddhist perspective, but it's just about sharing things in a different way. So, we all know about the different stages of grief. We've read them in the books. We've all lost someone in our lives, and we know we go through the denial, the anger, the despair, the guilt. There's lots of different ways that we deal with grief, and nowhere is the same and no person is the same. But I'd like to share a story, a personal story about grief and loss, and then I'm going to talk about the Buddhist perspective and how we move forward. So, my story is, in 2005, the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with was murdered, brutally murdered in a knife attack. And he was stabbed 13 times and left for dead. Now, before that happened, we'd planned our future, and we were going to set up our business together, and we were going to do lots of things together. And we were both around the same age group, so we'd been raised with the same music preference, the same interests, the same likes and dislikes. And so we had loads of things in common, and I thought that I found my soulmate, because in my teenage years I'd been a bit rebellious, but I thought I was past that and ready to settle down, and so did he. But we didn't live together. He had his own place, I had my own place. And we stayed together at the weekends, and it worked really well for us. And so one Sunday, when he was ready to go back, we hugged. And for some reason, I don't know what it was, but I just felt that pull to just say I love you a little bit longer, and that hug just a little bit longer. I didn't know then that it would be the last time that I saw him alive, but it was. Anyway, I got stuck in this quagmire of grief. I couldn't believe my life had been turned upside down. I'd lost the person that I loved, and I was left to deal with it on my own, and it was so sudden. So I went through the grief like everyone does. I went through the anger. How could you do this? I went through different ways, plotting how I was going to kill the person that murdered him. And then I reached a point where I thought to myself, hang on a minute. I've got to get past this. I've got to move past this, because he ain't coming back, but I've got a life to live. And slowly, it took about 8 years to meet my partner's killer, but I decided to forgive, and I took steps to meet him in prison. He got an indefinite life sentence, and every year I would go and write the victim statement or whatever it is to prevent them getting parole. And every year he never got parole, but for 8 years this carried on, and I was exhausted. So I decided that the best thing I could do was forgive. Talk to him, meet him, forgive him. And that's exactly what I did. I forgave him, I met with him, I moved on. we embraced. Sadly, he's passed away now, but we made our peace. Now, forgiveness isn't for everyone, and I'm not preaching forgiveness here. There are some people who've lost loved ones that don't want to forgive, and that's fine. I'm not preaching that, but I'm just saying for me, it made what was a monster. I mean, my partner's killer was a monster. He was there every waking day, every time I went to sleep, every time I woke up, every time I ate a meal, he was there in my mind. But when I forgave, and when I walked away and took my power back, that's when he was reduced back down to life size. And that's when I was able to get on with my life. But like I said, forgiveness isn't for everyone. It's really not. So, the thing is, what I want to talk about today is why some people get stuck in mental grief and why some people are able to move forward. And I'm going to talk about it from a Buddhist perspective. So, now from a Buddhist perspective, what we talk about is negative attachments. And by negative attachments, what I mean is holding on and clinging on to things in the belief that they're going to be forever. When we have our children, we want to hold them forever. We want to keep them forever. We don't imagine that one day they're going to grow up and leave home. And any mums out there who've experienced this will know that it feels like you've been left with this big void, you know, when children leave home. But when they die, that's even worse, because you can't understand, you don't plan on your children dying before you. So the actual belief that everything is forever is what causes us the most pain. Now, relationships, or anything really, any material thing, any relationship, any living being, at some point is going to expire. So you look around you, look around the room that you're in, and try and find something that you think is going to last forever. And you won't, because the house is going to need repairs, it's going to rot, your car is going to break down at some point. Every single thing will expire at some point, including you and including our children and grandchildren. Now, because we can't grasp that, because we find it difficult to grasp, what happens is when a tragedy comes about, like a death, the death of our partner, the death of a child, or even maybe the relationship ending in a different way, like for example through infidelity or through death. When those things happen, our life is turned completely on its head because we don't plan for it. We thought it was forever. So in Buddhism, we grasp the knowledge, we try to find that acceptance that nothing is permanent. And when we understand that nothing is permanent, we don't grasp on as tight, because we know that at some point everything is going to either die or expire in some way. Now, in Buddhism, we also believe in something called the law of karma. Now, the law of karma is the belief that we are here as humans because of situations in our past life. So, for example, we believe that some people are born into this life as animals, as insects, in different forms. But to be born as human means that we still have lessons to learn in order to be reborn in a better life. So the reason we still have lessons to learn is because of situations of our past. So from a Buddhist perspective, my partner was born into this life. He crossed paths with me, but his karma was to leave this life early and to be reborn into his next life, in whatever body he's reborn into. Now, his killer was born into this life as a murderer, always destined to be a murderer, to have a mind that was full of turmoil, pain, anguish. And for me, that doesn't warrant anger. That warrants pity, sorrow, forgiveness and compassion, because he's already suffered enough. What's the point hanging on to grief and anger? It's not going to bring the loved ones back. What it can do is set you free, and it can change the life of the other person. So that's a Buddhist perspective. So from my perspective, actually grasping onto that knowledge that nothing is permanent and that everything happens for a reason, a root cause, helped me to understand my partner's loss and the actions of my partner's killer. Now, it isn't that easy if you're not a Buddhist. And after all of this happened to me, I was invited to a kind of a weekend away, really, that was paid for by the probation service. And there was only me and somebody else there who'd had their partners murdered. Everyone else there had lost children, either to murder, manslaughter, or accidental death, like, for example, a shooting that had gone wrong. Now, I can't imagine what it feels like to lose a child. It must be the most excruciating feeling in the world. But those mothers were stuck. Every one of those mothers was stuck. One woman was stuck for 40 years fighting, trying to keep her child's murderer in prison. And she would probably fight another 40 years. But she was on every form of medication you can imagine, and she was riddled with physical illness. You could see the pain in her face, and forgiveness was not on her agenda, definitely not. And the other mothers that I spoke to were not at the point of forgiveness, and they also, the majority of them, were on mental health medication. Now, I'm not saying there is anything wrong with being on mental health medication, but when we lose a loved one, the grief sometimes consumes us so much that we need to escape. We need to temporarily escape because it's such a shock, it's such a horrible sense of pain. And so many people turn to alcohol, they turn to drugs, they turn to prescribed medication just for a short while to get them through the period that they're in. And it helps, and it keeps them warm, and it keeps them safe, and they escape from that. But then something happens, reality starts to kick in. And so you need more of the thing that helps you to keep safe. And what doesn't help is when people keep saying, now, listen, a year has gone by or 2 years has gone by and you really should be thinking about moving forward. But you can't move forward because you're stuck. And you're stuck in that pool of mud. And when I say mud, it's that gunge of desperation, of sorrow, of anger, of grief. And it sucks you in like quicksand. And the more it sucks you in, the more you need to escape. So the more of an escape route that you take. And that's quite normal for someone who's stuck in grief. Now, from a Buddhist perspective, if we understand that nothing is permanent and that everything changes, so that one day you will feel better. This mood that you feel now is not going to be forever, and it will change just like the mood changes, just like the sea changes with the moon. The tide comes in and it goes out. Everything changes, nothing's permanent. And so if we can grasp the concept that things change, people leave this life, and that the world just keeps turning around, and if we accept that nothing is forever, we don't grip on so hard. We don't have that fear of losing things, because when we fear losing things, we're constantly gripping and we're causing ourselves such emotional pain, and that's when we need to be medicated. So if we can find a way to cut ourselves free from that by accepting right at the get-go that, yeah, these are my beautiful children, I want them to go to university, of course I want grandchildren, of course I've got this beautiful partner, you know, I want the best for my family, but, you know, who's to say that my son or daughter isn't going to come home and say they're gay, and then I won't get grandchildren? Or who's to say my husband won't leave? We can't change what other people do and how they behave. And so that's why we know we can't hold on to them. And we can't hold on to them forever, because nothing's forever. And when we set people free and we set our own mind free, then what happens is when change comes, like for example, if we lose a child or if we lose the relationship for whatever reason, in whatever way, it hurts, but it doesn't cripple us. It doesn't damage our mental health. We can sort of accept the reason why. We can grieve and we can move on. And we can move past a whole problem of needing things to help us escape, if that makes sense. So that's the difference, and that's the reason why some people stay stuck for years and some people are able to move on. It's because they've grasped a sense of things not being permanent and things happening for the reason at the right time. Nothing wrong has happened. When someone dies, it feels terrible. It feels so painful. I mean, it's debilitating, but nothing wrong is happening. It's just life taking its cycle as it should. We live, we're born, we die, and that cycle continues and continues. So I hope that's been of some help. I hope it's helped to benefit somebody, one person at least who's watching. I'm not saying that grieving is wrong. What I'm saying is we must grasp the concept that things are not forever, that nothing is forever. And if we lose someone close, it's because it was the right time, the right moment for them to leave this life and enter a new one. So now I'm going to leave you with a beautiful meditation. So if you can take a nice comfortable position, what we're going to do, we're going to put our eyes in the Dristi position, which is, if you can sit up nice and straight with the legs crossed. The Dristi position is where we look straight ahead, but we put our eyes just a little bit down and we're focusing on one point, just resting the eyelids just down, and we're just sitting nice and comfortable. And in a moment I'm going to ring the Tibetan bells, and when I do, I want you to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, and just become aware of how the chest moves with the breath. Don't change it, just become aware. So take a nice breath in through the nose, just relax the jawline and put the mouth slightly open. But we're only going to be using the nose to breathe. So we're breathing in and breathing out, and we're just aware of how our chest moves, how it rises and falls with the breath. And now bring your attention down to the stomach. As you breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, feel how the stomach rises and falls with the in-breath and with the out-breath. Just feel how the body moves, how the stomach moves, how the abdomen moves. And just experience that movement with the breath. Don't change the way you breathe, don't change the pace of the breath. Just simply observe how the tummy moves and how the chest moves. And now, with your next breath in, take the breath down through the throat to the point between the breastbone where the heart chakra is. And then breathe back out through the nose. And as you inhale, take the breath down to that point again and feel the breath wash over the heart chakra. And as it washes over the heart chakra, see a green jewel start to appear. When you exhale, let the breath flow calmly and peacefully. And as you inhale, bring the breath down to wash over the heart chakra, cleaning it and leaving it shiny and sparkly, like the most beautiful bright emerald that you have ever seen. Breathe out. And breathe in and crash that breath down to the heart chakra, cleaning it and watching it sparkle. See how it sparkles bright and gleaming with your breath as you wash and cleanse the heart chakra. So now focus on that breath. With every in-breath, wash over the heart chakra and then exhale that breath through the nose. Bring that breath down and crash and wash over the heart chakra until it sparkles, gleams and glistens, until it's pure. And now place your hands over your heart chakra, one on top of the other. And as you breathe, say in your mind, I am healing and I am peaceful. So breathe into the heart chakra and in your mind say, I am healing, I am peaceful. I am healing, I am peaceful. Visualize that gleaming jewel underneath your hand as you recite, I am healing, I am peaceful. You can feel the warmth beneath your hands as that bright glistening jewel of the heart chakra permeates its heat onto your palms. And now bring the hands back to the knees and focus once again on the breath. In and out through the nose. And now as you breathe in, I want you to breathe down the nose, past the heart chakra, right down to the soles of the feet, and back up and out through the nose. Breathe in, down through the body to the soles of the feet, and back. Almost like the breath is going in a crescent moon shape, down to the soles of the feet and back. Feel that breath going down to the bottom of the feet and back like a rhythmic movement. And as that breath goes down to the soles of the feet, anywhere there's a blockage, just breathe past. Break that blockage and move the breath down to the soles of the feet and back. And now as you inhale, breathe out through the mouth with Let the breath go as long as you can. So you're breathing in the beautiful breath And the debris comes out with ah. Get rid of all that stress. Breathe in. Ah. And now focus on the breath once again. In through the nose and out through the nose. And focus on how the chest moves and how the stomach moves as you inhale and as you exhale. Focus on the movement of that chest and stomach. And now place the palms over the heart chakra again. And as you breathe in, say to yourself, I am healing, I am peaceful. I am healing, I am peaceful. And feel the glow of that green, beautiful underneath your palms. I am healing, I am peaceful. And now bring the hands back to the knees. Become aware of any patterns behind the eyes, any squiggly lines or any shapes that take form. Don't try to change them, just be aware of them. And now blink the eyes to get the eyes back into focus. Take a nice deep breath and bring yourself upright if you're not already. And remember that any time you feel like you're stuck in grief, or you feel sad, or you feel in despair because you've lost someone, place both hands over the heart chakra and just say, I am healing, I'm peaceful. Namaste. Again, my name's Julie Kelly. You can find more of my work and you can get my relaxation videos for free over on YouTube at Mind Medicine. You can also access my website at www.juliekelly.co.uk, or you can go to my other website at www.clearmindrevolution.wordpress.com and find out what's going on there. You can also find me on Facebook at Tenzin Dasal Julie Kelly. And if you want to drop me an email, I do respond. It's juliekellymail@gmail.com. But for now, I'm going to leave you. Namaste. I hope this has been of benefit. Please let me know. Please click like and share this video around to anyone you think might benefit from it. I really wish you a peaceful and happy life. Namaste.